Okay. Let us start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء سيد المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم وجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. اللهم اجعل أعمالنا خالصة لوجهك ولا تجعل فيها حظا لغيرك. وصل اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How's everyone today? Good. Good, alhamdulillah. Could do with some of this, but not the specific brand, but okay. I don't know. But we must make some tawbah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الذين كفروا وصدوا عن سبيل الله أضل أعمالهم والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وآمنوا بما نزل على محمد وهو الحق من ربهم كفر عنهم سيئاتهم وأصلح بالهم ذلك بأن الذين كفروا اتبعوا الباطل وأن الذين آمنوا اتبعوا الحق من ربهم كذلك يضرب الله للناس أمثالهم فإذا لقيتم الذين كفروا فضرب الرقاب حتى إذا أثخنتموهم فشدوا الوثاق فإما منا بعد وإما فداء حتى تضع الحرب أوزارها ذلك ولو يشاء الله لانتصر منهم ولكن ليبلو بعضكم ببعض والذين قتلوا في سبيل الله فلن يضل أعمالهم. Right. So we see this surah as a whole, by and large, the surah was revealed, or at least these initial verses of the surah were revealed before the Battle of Badr. Some Mufassirin say this specific verse, right, or the verses before this verse was revealed before Badr, and this verse was revealed after Badr. Others say this was also revealed after Badr, and thus the law was established, but they had choices as to what to do, because when you read the verse and you'll see what I mean. So we spoke about the idea here. فَإِذَا لَقِيتُمُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. When you meet those who disbelieve, meeting here in war. فَضَرْبَ الرِّقَابِ. Then strike the necks. Oh, yeah, strike the necks. What حال was ضرب in? حالة النصب. Why? Okay, it's a masdar, yes, but the masdar is a type of word. It doesn't tell me a hal. This I expect the Dawrah class to know. Maf'ul mutlaq. Right. It's indicating to me that there's something left out there. فَاضْرِبُوا ضَرْبَ الرِّقَابِ. You all translated it for me, strike the necks. But darb is a noun. It doesn't mean strike. It just means a striking or hitting. But the reason you translated it like that is because, well, perhaps we didn't know, but now you know sometimes you have a maf'ul mutlaq, a word that comes in nasb, and rather it has the command meaning. These other places you use this as well. You might not even have known it. غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. Like shukran, like marhaban, ahlan wa sahlan. All of those are you just didn't you ever think, why am I randomly saying a word in nasb? This okay, maybe right. You're randomly saying the word in nasb. It's not so random. It's maf'ul. But okay, that's for another time. So there's something omitted there that we understand to be there because that word is in nasb. The word can't be in nasb for no reason. Right? So there's something understood in there. فَضْرِبُوا ضَرْبَ الرِّقَابِ. فَضْرِبُوا ضَرْبَ الرِّقَابِ. حتى إذا أثخنتموهم, we said. حتى until. إذا, when. حتى indicates, what does it mean? What does حتى mean? Until, right? So it indicates the end of something. Do this and stop at this point. When I say do this until, it means you must stop at that point. So حتى, until, إذا, when, أثخنتموهم. Yeah, in this case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, until when, أثخنتموهم, and it means you have to spill blood to defeat them. And then we had فَشُدُّ الْوَثَاقِ. فَشُدُّ الْوَثَاقِ. The verb is شَدَّ يَشُدُّ. Right? This over here is the amr form. شَدَّ يَشُدُّ. Here we don't have shadda, here we have shudda. But the plural of it will be shudda, shuddu. So this is actually an amr. But it might look a bit strange, eh? Because it's not one that we come across very often. It's an amr of a double letter verb. The verb is shadda or shadada. Yashdudu. And the one way of commanding it will be ushdud. And that also comes in the Quran. Ushdud bihi azri. That's when Musa alayhi salam speaks about Harun alayhi salam. Wa ashrikhu fi amri. Right? And let him share in my matter. Imagine. Harun alayhi salam became a prophet because Musa alayhi salam also. That's why they say is, you know, ni'am al-akh. What a good brother he was. But anyways, the point is, it's shadada, yashdudu, and the amr will be ushdud. But now we know that oftentimes when we have double letters, we just shove them into each other, two of the same letter. So instead of saying shadada, yashdudu, we'll just say shadda, yashuddu. But now, if I do that for the amr, the sheen already has a sukoon on it. So can I put a shadda next to that? Can I do that? If I could write on here, I'll show you now. Let me just see if I can write. This is now going old school, man. Let's see if I can write with paint. Oh. Load shedding is finished. Okay, anyways. I was doing it pretty good from there. Just think about it. Ush dud. How will you say it if you put a shadda on the dal? Can you do that? What does a shadda mean? Two of the same letters. One has a sukoon and the one has a haraka. In fact, the first one has a sukoon. So can you pronounce it? You can't pronounce it. So that means you can't have a shadda on the sheen and so you can't have a sukoon on the sheen and a shadda on the dal. So what happens now? So we just change it. When you want to put the dals together, you take the sukoon away from the shadda, from the sheen, and you replace it with a dhamma. So it becomes now shudda. Shudda. But now what you're doing with that hamza at the beginning? Do you remember what kind of hamza is that? The hamza at the beginning of a amr. If'al, uskut, udkhul, iftah. If there was a wow before it, how would you read it? You would read waftah, waskut, wadkhul. What you call that hamza that you just read through? Hamzatul wasal. But hamzatul wasal doesn't have a haraka on it. So you can't pronounce it unless there's sukoon next to it. So because now the shadda, we already took away its sukoon. We put the dhamma there, we just drop away the hamzatul wasl. That's how you get from ushdud to shudda. And if you go down the scale to be shudda, shuddu. Shudda, shuddu. And that's what we have here. So this is an amr. Right? It's an amr. And if you don't want to complicate it that much, That's just how double letter amrs can sound. Like on the first verb. Yes, because you can't now have a sukoon at the end. Yes. Right? If I should do so, we say we discussed this already. If I should do so, tighten, make firm or intensify. What must you intensify? Al-wathaq. What do you say? What does wathaq mean? It literally means the knots or the bonds, the things that you used to tie them with. Right? The things that you tie them, the ropes or even bonds. But should do al-wathaqa. So what does that mean? So it's telling you first you make ithqan, right? Only once you finish making ithqan, now you can take slaves. Now again, I must reiterate how the Battle of Badr was different to other battles. In the Battle of Badr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted the Muslims to make an example of the mushrikeen. Why? They were the staunchest enemies of Islam at that time. And these were some people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had already placed the mark of the seal of kufr upon them, that they would not relent, they would not repent. Right? Like for example, tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tabba, etc. Right? So Allah wanted an example to be made of it. So this is fashuddul watha. So only once you've made ithqan, only once you've now really given them a thorough beating, then whoever remains as captives. Because in our engagement, if somebody stops fighting, you don't continue fighting. But here in this, so how do you now combine between that ithqan and the tying up here? How do you combine between the command of giving them a thorough beating and then still having captives? Excuse me? Well, it would be those who stop fighting, and also those who, once the army is beaten and they can no longer defeat you, you don't just allow them to retreat now. You take the rest as captives. Yeah, I'd have to check the ahkam of jihad for that, but I want to show about that specific case, to be honest with you. Right? Fashudul wathaq. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? فَإِمَّا مَنًّا بَعْدُ وَإِمَّا فِدَاءً. وَإِمَّا, then either, imma means what? Imma means either. Imma means either. Mannan ba'du. Mannan. So here you can see again another word that's just randomly in nasb, isn't it? But what does the word man mean? What does it mean? Don't you call Allah al-Mannan? What's Mannan? The one who confers a favor upon you. There's minna. Right? So Mannan means like a favor. Okay. Ba'du, what does ba'du mean? After. What hal is it in? This is now for the Dawrah class. What's it telling you? What's it telling you? Time. So what's it? Dharf, zaman. What hal is it in? Nasb. But remember we said, if it doesn't have its mudafun ilayh afterwards, then it becomes mabni on a dhamma. So it's in nasb, but it's mabni on a dhamma. That works for the words ba'da and qabla. That's why you find sometimes even there's a harful jar before it, min ba'du. That comes in the Quran. Right. So mannan ba'du. Ba'du means, but how are you going to translate this? Just say translate this afterwards. Afterwards. فإما منا بعد وإما. Now how are you going to translate either this, that, why are you going to translate it? Oh. Right. As it's not going to make sense. It's not going to translate well to English. Either this and either that. No, it's either this or that. So فإما منا بعد وإما فداء. Fida, what word do you know similar to that? Fidya. What's fidya? Fidya is a ransom, right? It's a ransom. So basically you pay something monetary to get yourself out of something else. But again, can you see that word is in nasb? Fida and mannan ba'du wa imma fida'an. So what does that mean? So what do you think is happening there? Why is mannan in nasb? Say again. It's the same like Dawrah. So either what you must do is until you must tighten the bonds, and then either confer favor upon them. It's in nas, but it's saying either favor them. What would a favor be to these captives here? Now, after you tie them up, to let them go free. Right? And what would the other option be? Fida and or ransom them. So both of those are both maf'ul mutlaq. Right? Mannan is maf'ul mutlaq and fidan is also maf'ul mutlaq. فإما منا بعد وإما فداء حتى تضع الحرب أوزارها. حتى until تضع الحرب. تضع means what? From the verb وضع يضع, to put something down or place something down. حتى تضع الحرب. Who's the fa'il of تضع? الحرب. What's الحرب? A war or battle. There's both interpretations. A battle within a bigger war, or a bigger war that comprises of various battles. Right? So obviously now this is figurative, because a battle doesn't place things. Right? So حتى تضع الحرب, it's a personification almost of the battle. حتى تضع الحرب what? Until the battle places what? أوزارها. أوزار is a plural of وزر. What's a wizr? فلا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى. No person will carry the burden of another. So a wizr is a burden. Awzar is the plural. Until the battle places its burdens down. And that's important. That language over there is very important. Because a burden is something that you don't want. A burden is something that you don't want. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, until the battle or the war places down its burdens. What does it mean? It's figurative language. What does it mean? until the fighting stops. Until the fighting stops. It can mean until the fighting in this particular battle stops, like the Battle of Badr, or it can mean until you have defeated that enemy completely, such that they no longer remain an enemy to you. Right? And in that way, we'll be understanding the word harb as war. Right? Until the war between, like for example, with the Battle of Badr, was the war between the Muslims and the Mushrikeen of Makkah, was it finished? No, they came back the next year. And there were signs that they would do that from the start. Right? So that battle within the greater war with the Mushrikeen was not yet finished. But after the Battle of Uhud, was it still finished? No. In fact, the Muslims seem to have suffered some defeat over there, after having seemingly been having the upper hand. But then with the Battle of Khandaq and Ahzab, that's when the Muslims finished them. And then with the Muslims by and large entering the fold of Islam, or the Mushrikeen by and large entering the fold of Islam, then it was completely finished. Then it was complete. So before the conquest of Makkah, and the Muslims took over control of Makkah, there was something else that happened, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. And the Treaty of Hudaybiyah meant they won't fight with each other. And many of the clauses of that treaty seemed very bad for the Muslims. Right? It was like a little bit skewed in the favor of the Mushrikeen, but what it meant was peace. And in peace, da'wah can thrive. So because there was peace, they couldn't fight with each other. It allowed for the Muslims to do a lot of da'wah. And the Arabs entered Islam in their droves and scores. So in fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refers to that as the Fath in the Quran. Not the conquest of Makkah, not Fathu Makkah. The Quran actually refers to that over there, that treaty that seemed unfavorable for Muslims. Allah refers to that as the Fath. Inna fatahna laka fatham mubina. That's referring to the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. Right? But the point that I'm getting at here is this idea of حتى تضع الحرب أوزارها. It gives the idea of harb being a burdensome thing, something that you don't really want. So despite the fact that Allah told you to make ithkhania, Allah told you in this battle you must beat them thoroughly, battle is still not something that you want. It's somewhat of a pragmatic decision to give them a hiding. Somewhat of a pragmatic decision to give them a beating in. In fact, this verse here speaks about two things that can be done with the captives. What are those two things? Either you release them or you ransom them. But this is not the only verse in the Quran that speaks about what to do with captives. There are other verses in Surah Al-Anfal that speak about it as well. And they give two other options. Right? And what are those two options? The one is? Say what you thought. Okay, no, not exactly, but yes, you can definitely interrogate him. But the two other options that the Quran gives is that you can take them as slaves. And the last one is to kill them. To kill them. Which one must you do? In this mas'ala, you don't follow the action of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You don't say Rasulullah sallallahu, how you follow the sunnah in this type of matters. You don't say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam killed the slaves in Badr, so we must kill the slaves. No. In a mas'ala like this, how you follow the sunnah is you look, what were the considerations that led Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to kill the slaves in the Battle of Badr? And what were the considerations that led Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to ransom them free in other battles? And based on that, you make your decision. So here, how you decide whether to implement one of these four options that the Quran gives you is you use the maslaha. You ever heard that word before? The maslaha. You look at the public benefit or the greater good. Right? So, for example, is there ever a greater good? Is there an instance where it will be a greater good to kill people? Yes. When you know they're going to carry on perpetuating the same facade. Or when you know that the existence is going to be a grave threat to the society. And that's why in Islam we have hudud. In Islam we have penalties. If you kill somebody, what's the crime for that? What's the penalty for that? If you kill them purposefully and you're not in battle, the penalty for that is qisas. Your life will be taken. Unless the family of the person that was killed, at least one of them, pardon you. Right? Unless they pardon you. But the zajr, the rebuke, already exists in the mere fact that your life is on the line. So Islam doesn't have so much of an objective in taking the life, but it's handing your life over, putting your life in the hands of someone else. That's punishment enough. Right? Why does that happen? Why? I mean, why would that be the punishment? Because what happens is once that person kills, he steals the security of the rest of the society. Yes, there's no way we can bring the life of that person back. So we may say, look, you can't bring this guy's life back. So why not let bygones be bygones? No. There's a perpetual harm that exists as long as that person remains alive. And that is that the security of the society is stolen. The feeling of safety of the society is stolen. So that must be dealt with, number one. Number two, there is the grudge that the family may hold. And that grudge may be a motivating factor in more killing occurring or more fighting occurring. And Islam wants to do away with that. So it's not simply on account of the fact that a life was lost that a life must be taken. Because there are many instances where a life won't be taken. What if I shoot a bullet up into the sky? Right? I had no intention of killing anyone. We're having some celebration, somehow I just shoot a bullet into the sky, and then it lands on somebody's head. Okay, let's not factor in terminal velocity and all that stuff. Let's just imagine it falls on the person's head and it kills him. Is my life going to be taken? There'll be no qisas in that case. There'll be other punishments, but there won't be qisas. My life won't be on the line. Right? That's what we call amdul khata. I did something intentional, but not the killing was a mistake. So how do we get to that now? Yeah. The point that I'm making is Islam doesn't have an objective in taking lives. In fact, the objective of Islam is preserving life. But when allowing a life to remain in existence threatens the entire society, whether it be in its deen or in just the well-being of its life, then the door is open for taking that life. Not by anybody. Not by anybody. Only the hakim, the ruler, or the ones who are standing in the place of the ruler can make that decision. Only the ruler or the one standing in the place of the ruler can make that decision. You cannot take it upon yourself to make that decision. You cannot take it. No person can take it upon themselves. Oh, I saw that guy killing the other person, so I'm going to go kill him. You can't do that. That is haram in Islam. Understood? That is haram. You are perpetrating an equal crime to that person. Though you may be thinking that you are fulfilling justice, you are actually perpetrating an equal injustice. So, here in this verse, there are two options given in this verse. Two other options given in Anfal. In the Battle of Badr, the option of killing the slaves were taken in accordance with what the suggestion of Umar radiallahu anhu was. It was done for a societal benefit. And that is that those who they are taken as captive, by and large, there may be exceptions, but by and large, they were people who were hell-bent on opposing Islam still. Right? And And yes, again, in terms of the psychology or the philosophy around battle, the verse, despite telling you to give them a thorough beating, tells you that battle is a burdensome thing. It's not something you should want. It's not something you should want. How does it do that? By saying, حتى تضع الحرب أوزارها. In a battle, everybody loses. There's always losers. Even if you win the battle, you lose some lives. You're still losing. So it's not something that Islam encourages or likes. Where are we? حتى تضع الحرب أوزارها. Okay, we'll finish the verse next week or the week after that. حتى sorry ولو يشاء الله لانتصر منهم. If Allah wanted to, He would have taken victory over them, meaning Allah would have beat him himself. ولكن ليبلو بعضكم ببعض. Rather, He wanted to test some of you with others. والذين قتلوا في سبيل الله, and those who are killed in the path of Allah, فلن يضل أعمالهم. Their deeds will never be lost. Their deeds will never be in vain. Right, we end there for now. وجزاكم الله خيرا وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خير.